printed out 500 postcards and boom, sent it out. A week later, I had a customer.
Natural entrepreneur right there.
It's that easy.
And I'm here with.
Paul Flint of Honyaku Plus, translation company here in Tokyo.
Why did you decide to start a business here in Japan?
I had the itch. I had to start a business, and I was in Japan, so here we go.
A lot of people think it's hard to start a business in Japan. Do you agree?
It can be if you're not mentally prepared. So they have a lot of different customs here, and very different from the United States. You can't fake it till you make it. You have to really follow their customs and do what they do, not try to bully your way in and do it the American way. You know, so that's the biggest barrier I've seen so far.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges that foreigners have when building a business here in Japan?
Language. It's the biggest barrier. It keeps everybody out. So the way you get around that is to have somebody here that can help you with the language, or learn it while you're learning it yourself. You should know how to speak Japanese to some degree.
There's a lot of foreigners who have businesses in Japan and they don't speak Japanese. What do you say to them?
I think that they have wives, Japanese wives in many cases, or they're part of a larger group that has those resources.
So how did you learn Japanese to start a business here?
Started from the very beginning, learning hiragana and katakana, which are script. I realized that you have to read and write. Just learning how to say things is not enough. You have to be able to read and write the language to be literate, or else you're just a dummy speaking Japanese.
Interesting. I mean, a lot of people say that it's best to just focus on the speaking, that writing and reading is not necessary. But obviously, you say different. Why?
I looked at it when I started, and looked at how I learned language. And from to the age of 6, I had my mom talking to me all day, every day. Then I went to school and learned how to read, and that's where you get to teach yourself. They teach you to read, so they don't have to teach you. You can read and learn yourself. So I thought, hey, it's got to be the same way for Japanese. And I thought about it and thought, if they can teach Japanese kids how to read and write, I can learn it.
How old were you when you learned Japanese?
Started at 19. Yeah, and I'm still learning Japanese, so it's never ending.
Did you decide to learn Japanese in order to start a business in Japan?
No, I've always loved foreign languages since I was a kid.
So with that being said, what was the most difficult thing when it came to learning Japanese? Because a lot of people here find Japanese very difficult. How do they master it?
It's just time. It's just the amount of time you put into it, and don't be afraid of it. And it's going to take a long time, so get used to that. And if you're here in Japan already, you're halfway there because you're in the environment where you will use it every day. So that's a big barrier, and if that's done, you've overcome that barrier by being here.
Got it. If people are able to learn Japanese and come to Japan to start a business, what advantages will they have?
Well, they'll be able to take care of themselves. You can open a bank account if you need it. You'll be able to deal with your customers and their individual needs. The Japanese that I deal with, they're so happy that I speak Japanese, so they don't have to flog their English, and that makes it very much smoother. They don't want to learn English for you. They want to just do business. So, yeah.
There's a lot of people who want to start business in Japan, but they don't necessarily want to stay here their entire lives. So how can they start a business without learning Japanese?
Well, they would not have to use Japanese. They would have to have somebody that would help them use Japanese. Yeah, somebody to speak for them and an interpreter. It's very expensive to do it, to hire somebody. So you have to have somebody you know. So it's best to have a business partner. If you are by yourself, it's not going to work very well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you decide to start a business in Japan instead of the United States?
I had been to Japan once and decided I want to live here. And coincidentally, I also wanted to start a business.
So it happened at the same time.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a good thing that I didn't start a business in the United States because I had no preconceived ideas about how to run a business.
Okay.
So I learned everything here. So I just learned their customs and followed their ways. I don't know how to do business in the United States. That's a lie. I do know how to do business in the United States because I do business in the United States. But it's a cash and carry economy here. You're giving out credit to everybody. You're a bank until you're dealing on terms, right? Doing
Okay.
business on terms.
Can you elaborate on that?
Oh yeah, it's very simple. You deliver a product, and then at a certain time you send out a bill, and then they pay it out a month later. Their style is different than ours. It's they bill at the end of the month usually, and then they pay at the end of the next month. So it's not 30 days from invoice or 90 days from invoice or whatever, the U.S. style for that. So yeah, so that's the way they do it.
What's the difference between the business style in Japan compared to the US?
It takes longer. It goes slower. They want to know who you are and know who they're doing business with, and so that they can trust you. I've given terms for all of my clients. I've only been burned once in a long time, 20 years of doing business. In the United States, they don't trust anybody, so you have to pay them, money up front for the people that I've dealt with. And it's different because I'm from overseas, buying stuff on I can't buy on credit. I have to pay up front. That's the biggest difference.
I see. How did you know that you wanted to live in Japan and start a business here?
I came here for the first time and just fell in love with the place. I'd been studying Japanese already, and just everything's different. Everything. The first time I got here, I saw a Coke can this tall and about that big around. And I was like, what is that? A sample? No, they sell those. So, and that's just an example of how different everything is. They have everything we have in the United States. It's just all different, slightly off. Telephone services, cars, rules of the road, business customs. What they consider, proper and appropriate manners. It's just all we have. Of course, we have manners in the United States too, but
Almost made it seem like we didn't.
but they're different. It's just everything's different, and I love that challenge. That was what I was.
So it's still a challenge for you today.
Not so much, not as much. I can enjoy it now. It's more relaxed for me because I know what I'm doing, and I just walk in and start talking to people, and I know what they're going to say and how they're going to behave, and I know how to behave so that they accept me.
How long have you been in Japan for?
I don't want to say. 32 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Why 32 years?
I got here early and just never went home. I should tell you the 2 and 20 rule, 2 or 20 rule. So everybody comes here, says they're going to stay 2 years, and if they don't leave after 2 years, they're here for at least 20.
You found that to be true?
Yeah, a lot of people do. You hear that story a lot. Yeah, came here just for a visit and never left. Yeah.
You were able to stay here in Japan for over 30 years and also have your own business. How were you able to thrive and survive here?
Support. I had a network of people when I got here. So Japanese people, because I was married, and so I had that whole family background to rely on. That helped a lot, a tremendous amount. There's no pressure. It's not do or die. A lot of people are here, to start a business, and they have a bank budget, and it's like, oh, I got to get this off the ground in a year. It's like, ain't gonna happen. It's gonna take 2 or 3.
Really? Oh, yeah. Really? 2 or 3 years to start up the business?
Yeah.
Does it depend on the industry?
Could, yeah. I mean, again, I had a lot of advantages when I started, but I started a whiskey company, import company, 2012, and that's what they told me. The people here in the business said, yeah, 3 years, give it 3 years. And it did start to get traction after 3 years. And then of course, went a little while, and then Corona hit and all the bars closed down for 2 years, and that business went,
Well, within that 3-year period, are you getting paid at all? Or are you just hoping to get paid, hoping to get clients?
Hoping and working a lot.
So how do you survive? How do you get income?
I had another business that was functioning, the translation company.
Multiple businesses. How do you start multiple businesses here in Japan?
Well, the translation business is also very hard, but at that time it was going great guns, making lots of money, hiring lots of staff. And I thought, well, what else is there? And I thought I wanted to get into a merchandising business rather than a services business to balance it out, because they're different. They have different strengths and weaknesses. So I thought I'd try that. And I had a friend who made whiskey in the United States. Again, my network of people. Yeah.
You're talking about connections a lot. So how can people establish connections here in Japan in order to grow their business?
You have to come here. You have to be here and be in the environment. So go to a lot of networking meetings. Again, this is where learning Japanese would be helpful.
Mm.
Um,
Where do you find these events?
well, there's for Japanese events, there's a site online. Oh, God, I can't remember the name. I think it's Domo. It's Doomo, and it's just a list of events by industry. Whatever, fashion or computer programming or whatever, business owners, that kind of thing. Yeah, so there's a lot out there, and there's a lot in English too. So you can find a lot of English meetings, and that's probably where you should start, is with English networking meetings, because then those people will know other people outside of that network that can help you. And I mean, that's networking, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What's the step-by-step process that you took to start a business here in Japan?
Have a product and then find a customer.
How?
Ask people.
So how did you find your product?
The first, I didn't ask about any product. I just I say, send me something to sell. And I had a friend in the States. He sent me something to sell. And I thought, okay, I don't know who to sell this to, but I do know that there's a magazine called Boon, and they have a list of stores that sell the kind of stuff that I have here now in a box in my house. And so I just printed out 500. Everybody they list all the stores in the back of the advertisers in the back of the magazine. So I just took all those names and addresses, put it into my Mac, and printed out 500 postcards. And boom, sent it out. A week later, I had a customer.
Wow. Natural entrepreneur right there.
It's that easy. Just talk to people. It's like, I got this. Where do I go? Oh, that's the guy you want to talk to.
How did you know that the product that you had was actually going to sell here in Japan?
I had no idea, and that's the way it works. You can't know if a product's going to sell until you have a product to sell to a person who doesn't know anything about you or your product. And if you can make that connection and make that sale, then you got a product that can sell at least one. So,
did you know Japanese at the time?
yes. So again, that benefit of learning the language early on. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. What was your biggest failure here when building a business in Japan, and how did you learn from it?
Biggest failure. Well, the whiskey company didn't work out so well.
Okay.
The translation business is still going strong. Actually, my first business, the clothing, American kids stuff importing company, that went BK because the exchange rate fluctuated so horribly. And what did I do with that? Moved on. Started a translation business instead. Because it was something that I was interested in. I already been studying Japanese. I knew how to write and read English, so it was a natural.
That's so interesting, because you went from a completely different industry, right? How were you able to hop from industry to industry to start a new business there and then thrive?
Well, I don't overthink it. I'm looking for a product and then a customer, at least just one, the first one, and that's very simple, and you can do that with anything. Anything. Start a cafe. That's a little bit more upfront cost, right? So that's a little bit more investment, time, and money. But it's like that. How is that business going to survive? Nobody knows. Nobody can predict that.
You put a time frame on it before you move on to the next one?
I have not had to do that yet. It's like, okay, this is it. My businesses all naturally grew and naturally died.
And naturally died.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the exchange rate killed the first business. The translation business is still going because it's not dependent upon foreign exchange or anything like that. COVID killed the whiskey business. I had nothing to do with it. It's just, all right, well, that's done. And then the translation business is still going, even though it's hard sometimes, and even though the market will go up and down. Like every time Chat GPT like system comes out, everybody thinks, oh, we're saved. We don't have to pay for translation anymore. And it's like, well, no, that's not true. And they have to learn that the hard way. They're going to go and try it, spend a lot of time and money on it, and go, it doesn't work the way I thought it was. And then they come back to us. Happened in 2006 with Google Translate. 2012 with Neuro Machine Translation, which you may not have heard of, and then most currently with ChatGPT, and everybody thinks, well, and DeepL, another thing, and that works for what it's intended for, but it's not going to cover you for professional level translation, which is what we do, for big companies.
Paul, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.